Thank you, Grace.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. We're really excited to be talking to you about the 2024 round of ArtsForward today. We're going to go through a very brief PowerPoint presentation that will hopefully answer some of your questions. There's a few things that are going to be different this year, but largely it's around the platform that we're using and not necessarily the content that we're going to be asking for. So I wanted to make sure you had a chance to see what you were going to be working with this year. A quick overview on last year is up on the screen in front of you. I want to say we had over $2 million in requests come in for about $450,000 to be distributed. So it was a really competitive grant process. And as I've told many of you, the applications that came in were excellent. It was tear-inducing for two reasons. The happy reason is that we have an enormous amount of talent and passion around the cultural plan and some really great ideas that are going to be implementable. Yeah, so happy this is being recorded. And the sad reason is, gosh, I wish we had more money to give out because there really were fantastic ideas that came in. So out of about $2 million in requests that came in and over 100 applications, we were able to distribute 450,000 and 25 grants were awarded last round. And this just gives you a little bit of an idea of some of the feedback that we heard. We're always looking to do things a little bit better, smarter. And so the grant applicants and the folks who were awarded grants in the first round were able to help us make sure that the process is going to run even more smoothly this year. So we're excited about the path forward. This is where notably the people who know how to make PowerPoints have stopped making the PowerPoint and we're back to me and my skill set. If you want to scan the QR code, but it's also available at akronculturalplan.com/artsforward. The application is now live. And you can see from my attractive arrows, there's a place for you to log in. It's going to prompt you to set up an account and provide some information. But there's also a way for you to take a look at the program and the application for both phases before you even decide if you want to set up an account or apply at all. So we did that this year just to be as transparent as possible. And we were so excited to find a platform that allowed us to do that. So for those of you who are sort of clicking through and playing along with us, if you go down to programs and you can hit preview, and you're actually going to be able to see the questions for both the letter of intent, which is what we're calling round one, which is really tell us your idea and which priority it's advancing and give us an idea of your budget, as well as the second round for those who move forward and are asked to submit a more traditional full application. If you go into to the review option, you can see three areas that I would encourage you to check out at some point. One is the eligibility check. This is super fast and easy. We just want to make sure that you understand that you will need to be a 501c3, or if you are an individual artist, we're asking you to find a fiscal partner who is a C3 so that they can, so that the money can be distributed appropriately to a 501c3, and then you'll pull down money from that. And we can talk a little bit more about how fiscal sponsorship works when we get to the Q&A portion for those of you who are interested in it. But as I'm looking around the room, many of you have operated in that space. I see Dominic and Ashley are here, and Leela and others who have very familiar with what that looks like. You can also look at the ArtForward grant letter of intent for 2024. That's going to be the application that you're going to complete this month. There's very few questions that we're going to cover here in a second, but it gives us an idea of what the proposal that you're putting forward is going to be. The happy point is that you can also look at the full application. So if you're invited to move forward into the second phase, it will give you the opportunity to see what that application is going to look like too. So again, really trying to increase transparency this year and take away the mystery. So we invested in a platform that would allow us to do that. The key thing to remember when we're talking about ArtsForward is that it is not general operating money. Unfortunately, that's not an option that we have with these dollars. It is project or program money for new projects or programs that are advancing the Akron Summit Cultural Plan. And those 10 key priorities are the areas that our community told us are of most importance for the future of Greater Akron. So these are the things that the community said is going to make not just arts and culture, but our community at large healthier, more vibrant, safer, and just a better community, both for the residents who are living in Summit County, but also for the visitors and guests who we want to invite in, not only because it's a lovely thing to do, but also because we want them to spend their money in Summit County. So these are the priorities that we're really going to be focusing on, that we're going to ask you to identify your work within. The good news is, for those of you who applied in the fall, you helped to direct these priorities. So they are the work that you are already passionate about and doing, which is the sweet spot that we believe in the cultural plan. On the right side of the screen is the actual letter of intent, the way that, or yes, the letter of intent questions that you're going to be navigating, but I typed them over for those of you who, like me, are at a place where you need readers, which I have handy in case I need them at some point. One is just the title of your project. You have the opportunity to change this in round 2 if you move forward, but something that encompasses the project that you want to put forward. 2, the priority. So tell us which one of the drop downs of those 10 key priorities is the area you're going to be working within. And then we have a quick project description of 100 words or less. This is if you're in an elevator and you're doing the elevator speech, what is it that you want to do? And then the summary of activities. How are you going to do it? And you can see there are some word limits there. As someone who also writes grants in addition to reviewing them, I am aware of the hate and also love that goes along with word limits. So be thoughtful about that, because there is going to be you're going to get cut off at some point. And then this year, instead of a specific budget number, we're asking you to give us a range. So we're not going to necessarily keep you there if you get additional information and you need to move out of that range, but we're asking you to put in some thought. So don't just hit 25,000 because you don't know how you're going to spend that money yet, but gosh, you want to go for all of it. Really put some thought into how much your project is actually going to cost. If you looked at the grant awards that went out in the fall, you'll see that they ranged from $2,000 up to $25,000. So be thoughtful about what it is that you want to accomplish and what your project actually requires, and make your very best estimate or guesstimate at what you think that range is going to look like. It's broken down into $5,000 increments, so you can tackle that at your own time. And then this is the timeline. So right now, the application for the letter of interest is open. You have until April 30th to submit that. As you can see, it's not a long application. So the bulk of your time is probably going to be coming up with the idea, maybe talking to any partners you think you might need. While we're not asking you to get letters of support from them at this stage, it's always a good idea to talk to people that you're going to be talking to in a few weeks to ask for their support. The review of this, which again, the review committee is going to be made up of local artists, community members, neighborhood leaders from across the county, folks who care deeply about arts and culture in our community. And they are going to be reviewing all of the applications. That's going to take place over the course of May. You're going to be notified as to whether or not you're moving forward to the full application the first week of June. If we can get that out to you any earlier, we will. But that is our goal, is you'll hear by the end of the first week in June whether or not you're going to be asked to submit a full application. You'll be submitting that full application by June 30th. So you'll have the month of June to work on that application. In the same way that last year we provided some office hours, some supports around that application, we're going to be doing that again. I know some of you are really used to writing grants, and you could probably do this with your eyes closed. And I also know we have some folks that this is going to be new for, and we want to make sure that we're, to the very best of our ability, providing a level playing field for everybody. So if this is your first time applying for a grant, and we had some really fantastic grantees last year that this was their first time, just know that when you get to that stage, we're going to be working with you. There's nothing to panic about. We want you to put forward the very best application that you can, and we're going to help support you in that. The review is going to take place in July, and we're giving our reviewers who are they can out themselves to you, but we don't do that for them because we want to be respectful of their privacy. But I can tell you that the group that we had last year and the group that we're pulling together this year, enormously thoughtful, and we want to give them time to be as thoughtful as possible as they're reviewing all of the applications. The second week of August, applicants will be notified, and we'll have our final group of 2024 ArtsForward Award recipients. So at this time, we're going to move into the Q&A section, and out of respect to all of the folks who've joined us on the call, I am going to go ahead and pause the recording. For those of you who are watching the recording, if you have any questions and you didn't get them answered during the session, please feel free to reach out to Grace and I. We have office hours that are available. If you go to akronculturalplan.com under the Arts Forward tab, you can sign up to talk one-on-one with Grace and I, and we're happy to do that with you. Or you can reach out to artsforward@artsnow.org, and we'll be able to take up any of your questions. But we want to make sure that the folks who joined us for the call have the opportunity to ask questions without the whole world watching. So thank you so much for joining us virtually. We'll go ahead and stop sharing.